Hi Geek, welcome to this edition of the Geek Studio Show. Geek Studio is a show about technology, innovation and entrepreneurship. In every edition we welcome guests who come and talk about what they are doing and what is relevant to you as a geek. In today's edition, I have a lady who works at a company called Synergy. Synergy is a company that does things to do with sustainable sanitation, and they work very close with the communities. So today in the show I have Edith Karimi,
Hi,
the
Peter.
Senior Communications Officer at Synergy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Edith.
Peter.
Yes, nice to have you around. Now, to start off, just introduce yourself, tell the geeks your early life, and which school you went to, because it's about inspiring them. I hope you wouldn't mind.
No, I don't mind,
Please,
Peter, at all.
a short introduction.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, Peter, it's a pleasure and an honor to be on your show. Like you've said, my name is Edith Karimi. I work for Synergy, which is a social enterprise based here in Nairobi, Kenya, and we provide hygienic, accessible, and affordable sanitation. But I grew up, in a rural town. It's called Kerugoya, and our village is called Karaine. We actually moved there when I was about 13 years, and so most of my formative years were spent in that town. My dad was actually a village doctor, so he quit his high-paying job as a doctor to start up a clinic in the village. And looking back, I really learned, from my dad, because, when you're the village doctor, people expect you to, treat them and everything. And so he set up this small clinic, and he would provide healthcare at a very, very affordable cost, because most people in the villages cannot afford, to pay so much money for healthcare. So it's anything from, women who are pregnant to, kids who are sick. And he would even be woken up in the night by so many people. And most of them could not afford. And he actually had to provide free services, or even at times, treat people, and then they would pay later. And so seeing my dad wake up every morning after he had quit his job, we had just moved into this rural place. And because we were from another town, Karatina, and we were living quite well because he was a doctor there. And for him to make that move and really resolve to make people's life better by giving them affordable health care. I really learned a lot from my dad about, doing, community, giving back to the community, and just, making people's life a bit easier. My mother is also a nurse, and that's where they, of course, they met with my dad because they're in the same. And my mom really gave support to my dad because it's not easy when your husband is being woken up at night. Sometimes giving things for free, medical care for free. And as we got to learn a lot from my dad, and this was a very crucial experience in my life. So I attended school in Effort Junior. I would have to wake up very early in the morning to go to the nearest town, which was Kerugoya, to get an education. And I would also like to thank my parents because they also gave me a very good education, and they were not making that much money by then. And then after that, I passed my KCPE and I went to Kabare Girls High School, which is an all-girls school based about 50 kilometers from where we used to live, and also very, crucial experiences. It was a provincial school, and so I got to meet with people from all over Kenya, and it really shaped my, view of the world and about, because it's not everyone who gets a chance to meet with people from other, towns in Kenya. And then after that, I've always loved writing. I've always loved telling people stories. And so I knew without a doubt in my mind that I was going to do something closely related to, communications and telling people stories and stories that had an impact. And that's why I joined Egerton University. It was actually the first program they had in communications in town campus.
When was that?
That was around 2002. 2002.
It's pretty long time.
2002. It's quite a while. And when I joined in, I just basically wanted to tell people stories. And I really got interested in, communications and learning about media work, because by then I wanted to join the mainstream journalism industry, to be a reporter and to do all sorts of things. But by the time I cleared fourth year, I realized that, communications work can be even in, in so many areas of life.
Yeah.
So I did communications with a major in print journalism, and I always wanted to be a journalist and to be in the mainstream media and just capture people's experiences and tell their stories. But when I was going towards the end in my 4th year, I realized that I really also wanted to get my hands dirty, to live with communities, to go and capture people's, day-to-day lives, and the things they were doing to better their lives, and then tell those stories. So to be in the background, maybe through my writing, and not just to be in front of the camera. But I'm with you here today. So.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And so after I finished, I got an internship at the Kenyan Human Rights Commission,
Wow.
and that was around the
When was it, this edit? When did you finish? When did you graduate from the university?
2006.
2006.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I got internship with the Kenya Human Rights Commission around 2007. And if you remember correctly, this was during the post-election violence.
Oh yeah, 2007. Yeah,
Yes.
very
Yeah.
dark history.
It was a
this,
very dark time in Kenya. And during that internship, I got a chance to travel to the IDP camps, where people had been displaced and there were, families had been, broken down and people were just in very low spirits. And that was also a very important time for me because I realized that, communities have stories, and they had all these stories about how their life was like, and the things they were going through. And I realized I wanted to work with communities for a very, very long time. And so KHRC was a really, good experience for me. And I also got to help train media monitors. This was actually people who were to monitor hate speech during the elections. And so all those experiences led me to what I'm doing today. And then after that, I also got to work with an organization that it's called the Institute for Culture and Ecology, and they work with farmers to address food security and the challenge that the farmers have because, soils have degraded over time and people need their soils to regenerate. And, saying that, with farmers with the right know-how and the tools, can regenerate their soil so that they're able to provide food for their families and as well, sell that food to make an income. And I also took a bit of time off after the Institute for Culture and Ecology. And then a year after I left ICE, I heard about Synergy, and I really liked them because what they were doing is providing this sustainable sanitation and then collecting that waste, turning it into organic fertilizer to address the food security challenge. And I also I had worked with farmers. So it was like coming full circle for me, and I'm still working at Synergy, and it's been a great experience for me.
Wow, awesome. We are going to the break, but just before we do that, I wish to congratulate you for a job well done.
Thank you, Peter.
And this really impacts lives. And Geek Studio and Youth TV, that is our main focus. Now, when we come back after the break, you will now take the geeks. What is it that you are doing at Synergy? I mean, a brief introduction about Synergy. What is the agenda that you have for the youth? Because I know you do things to do with sanitation, and you really work with the communities at a very close point in life. So we will talk about that. So Geeks, it has been nice to have Edith Karimi, the Senior Communication Officer from Synergy. She has just taken us through her early life, where she went to school, and the good experience that she has had all along. When we come back to the show, she now talk about Synergy. Synergy is a company that does things to do with sanitation back in the village, and she'll tell us about her role and what they're doing and the agenda they have for you as the youth and geeks. See you after the break.